or individual. Freedom FM 87.9, your best choice.
On a date or in the comfort of the law, this is not cause of the car in Labrador football. I want the oldest stakeholder. I'm proud. I'm trained by FIFA in car. I did part of best the FA president continues to violate the statutes of the FA.
What was violated in the statute that you guys to share it at the
issue of making new clubs during our extraordinary congress is a violation. Okay, maybe we're in the wrong. Two of us can decide, but we decide to go to the court. This is our right. Like he went to the court, Kaseko went to the court, Joshua went to the court, Yulumela and others went to the court.
Anything can competition, nothing good. The women power will fail. Honestly, our team said the best, our team low before. We are not taking part in any major tournament on 17. Now, after 2 years, we have one thing. We have to play. Why would the Labrador is playing tomorrow? What we expect is nobody knows. SKD are better than take for crazy. Nobody wants to go to the SKD again because Labrador is no more winning. We don't have a Williams, we don't have one of this. Labrador now we basically go again. We lost 3 games at the great SKD in row. First of the count, we have lost 6 games as a team national team. And you still take and say you are the NFL president. What happened to all the money people are sending? What can you do? Your ad gets finished. 10 over Mr. Raji there. Raji is losing weight, he's losing balance, he's losing all the support you think you can get from the friend and whosoever I work with the FA. I'm making progress and I'm happy with the process. And only that can stop me. Only that. And nobody speak up, we'll continue there for the next 10 years and our football go nowhere. So as I'm speaking, people joining me, you today, you have the press, you carry the message and it's going. Let's wait for the result tomorrow. I pray for good. But when bad happens, forget it. We'll be worse for him. And believe me, we will go to the wherever he can eat. We go to wherever he can rest. It's not only a room. He got other places he can visit. We go to his friends, we take the car, we'll be peaceful and take a step aside. They shall all right. We'll let take a step aside and our ideas can come on board.
I told them to say people and people are joining face to face and told them I wanted to do this donation. And they referenced me to the women football head, with that is Judy of the LFA, who was the third vice president. And I spoke with her on the phone, and she told me she would get back to me. It took a day before she got back to me. When she got back to me, she sent me over to the deputy SG. The deputy SG sent me over back to Judy. Judy sent me over to the deputy SG, and they started playing ball because they didn't want to collect the money. So at the end of the day, it's just a children play that's in the FA that we should stop. We are running football. We are not running our own personal homes.
Thanks to the past administration, we started the process, the tender process, that ended up awarding the contract to CSAP Nigeria, a library-owned company that designed and built. Thanks to CSAP for its work and thanks to Design and Build for its expertise exhibited during the process of this project. We relocated from the initial realms due to
good afternoon, so much. Good afternoon to the public. The pleasure to be on the program. And first of all, I'd like to again extend my thanks and appreciation for you and all Nigerians who continuously support football, who took to the FAs to support the national team. Unfortunately, we were not successful this time around. We again like to extend our apologies to fans. The expectations were high, and we thought
the promise was elated when I made my promise. And the president made a promise that when he said if they get a win, he was going to give 5,000. The president know the children was the small moment Nigeria was going to be the children. The president promised money that he know he will never give. Why couldn't he give the 5,000 before the game? I wanted to give my 5,000 before the game. We are not talking about promising, we are talking about giving. The president is not going to give them money. When they are playing Brazil, he will promise them 50,000 because he knows Brazil will be there. I tell them what I'm saying.
Issues to the LFA.
you to skip those issues and you just come and make it look like everything is okay, what kind of country we use to plan? And then we have a bad audit report and then stable overwhelming the body after the auditor himself telling you that the report is bad. There's a high rate of corruption. The elephant go, people go to give you collect money for getting it, share it on the feed. President tell it, get it, so there's a high rate of corruption. And then they still go listening to that overwhelming voting for the audit report. I think we are heading nowhere. It's a completion. We raise the issue to the elephant for you to skip those issues and you just come and make it look like everything is okay. What kind of country we use to plan? And then we have a bad audit report and then stable overwhelming the body after the auditor himself telling you that the report is bad. There's a high rate of corruption. The elephant go, people go to give you collect money for getting it, share it on the feed. President tell it, get it, so there's a high rate of corruption. And then they still go listening to that overwhelming voting for the audit report. I think we are heading nowhere. It's a complete joke.
This is the Freedom Weekend Sports on Freedom 87.9. This sports program comes away every Saturday from 12:30 to 1:30, wherein we talk about the latest happenings in the world of sports in Liberia. As you may be aware, the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations draw has been held. Liberia now know their upperness in the upcoming qualifier as expected to run between September to November, where the Lone Stars of Liberia will be hoping to go to their third ever AFCON in their history. One of the closest times the Lone Star came to qualify was against South Africa months ago, where they crashed on their way at the SKD Sports Complex after getting a 2-2 draw in Johannesburg, raising the bar and hope of Liberians, but that was dashed at the SKD Sports Complex. Can the Lone Stars of Liberia regain their momentum and zest to qualify for major competition? We'll be following up very shortly. The Football Association President Mustafa Raji made a lot of statements during the course of the week, and the media engagement will be diving into that and too many things. Basketball, once again, has been omitted from the Liberia National County Sports Media annually. For the second time in succession, basketball won't be part of the competition. Too many things on the weekend sports. Danisha Matter is here on the weekend sports matter. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you, Thomas. It's good to be back. Thank God for life. Thank God for health. Today is the 6th.
Yes, today is the 6th day of the
July.
7th month.
Yeah, 6th day of the 7th month. Under 20 or 19 days to celebrate another Independence
Yeah, we are
Day.
close to that.
Grateful to God to be alive. I'm strong. I'm healthy. And let's get the ball rolling.
Well, he's strong and healthy like I'm doing too. We will go on the line and speak with the president of Senior Female Professional, Mr. Evelyn Stitches Glasgow, to give us some rundown, some things he know about. He normally in the news when the Football Association releases statement. So we will speak with him on some of the things that was said by the president of the Football Association. We'll look at other things. Basketball is on our plate for the second time in succession. We are now going to witness basketball participate in the National County Sports. We hope we can get the Secretary General online, Mr. Calvin Dix, who will try to reach out to carry on, but he was not picking up. Or we can get the former Vice President for Administration, who is the former Minister, as a matter of fact, former Assistant Minister for Logistics as the Ministry of State. Mr. Emmanuel Porter will be giving us his view on why basketball 2 times in a row has been disconnected with the National County Sports Meet. You may be aware the Europe 2024 is ongoing. Countries are qualifying for the semi-final stage. Spain and Italy managed to qualify. Spain and France, managed to qualify on yesterday. Spain got a dramatic 2-1 win, time meaning into extra 30 minutes of play against the host Germany, while the French national team had to be pushed by Portugal, led by their captain, 39-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. That game had to go to post-match penalty, where João Felix was the person who crashed at things for the Portuguese national team. Now they will have to go back, real good themselves, and prepare for the 2026 World Cup. Too many things in our place, Daniel.
Too many things, Thomas. Good to be back. Let's get the ball rolling. Where do we start? Go to basketball.
Let's clear our plate with basketball. Coming this, we will see if we can get him. But I don't know what is your view on this thing.
So the Liberian Basketball Association, had been in the news for all the wrong reasons, with a leadership crisis. Rufus Anderson, a good friend on one hand, and then Ibrahim Samuka on the other hand. That drag, it put the country's reputation at stake. The Federation of International Basketball Association, FIBA, had to ban Liberia. So for a long time, we have not been taking part in international competitions. And basketball have been at the standstill, but they were able to, smoke a peace pipe, and the basketball league has resumed at the gymnasium at the SKD. So maybe the ministry may be playing it safe, to say, because of the ongoing crisis and because of the then deputy minister who gratefully is still now deputy minister, Andy Kwame, had to play a mediator role, because all sports or all federations, it is the government that gives license or licenses to operate. So while it is true that there is a clause or a policy or a law, if you like, that forbids governmental interference in sports, but that does not mean that when there is a crisis, the government cannot find a way to mediate. So Andy Kwame has been trying to play a mediator role. So maybe thankfully that they have a peace pipe, and to say, okay, since basketball has not been playing, at the level we want it to be, so let's give it a break, to say we're not going to include it into the first edition under this new administration. And then the second time, it could be down to maybe budgetary issues.
Because for the 2024 editions of the country, we went there, we were told basketball is not going to be part due to some financial constraints. Okay. But now let's take into consideration that the budget has been passed now. Basketball, misunderstanding has settled. The Sion team, the Basketball Federation at this time, they are organizing the Sion national team and then of the youth national team to participate in 2 international basketball competitions. And as a matter of fact, Liberia in September of this year, between September and October, will be the host of the women's basketball on 3 competition. So it shows that all of our misunderstanding has been settled.
Correct.
The war ballet has recognized.
Correct.
But let me tell everybody through with something that says, since national country sport came into formation around the 1950s. Yeah, 1950s, when I think the intent of it was to.
It is still the intent.
Yes, the intent of the basket or the intent of the country sports meet is to go out there, is to groom players.
Yes, sport talent, peace and reconciliation, unity.
So if you talk about the issue of reconciliation, if you feel that there is a misunderstanding, if the government is saying that probably because of misunderstanding,
I was trying to give a rundown,
of what
where we were and where we are now. The first edition, there was no basketball because of budgetary constraints. Yeah. So perhaps it's the second the edition under this administration could be the same budgetary constraint.
But the budget has not been passed.
Granted, the budget has been passed.
There's 2 sports that are going to be played in the country sports meet. Okay. So what happens to other sports that the players, that all the federation are grooming their players to meet up international standards, to have the faith to play for clubs, to do other things? What happened to them? That's just my point.
So I was trying to call the deputy minister. He's in the meeting.
And he's back in the country.
For us to find out,
Can we speak? You have Murphy number?
Murphy Gray? Nope.
I think I should have him. Yeah. But as the program progresses, when time call, we'll hear from the basketball house. What do they make of the decision of the Ministry of Youth and Sports 2 times succession ID? Basketball will not be in the national country sports meet when they are grooming players to form part of the national team, when they are now building the re-image of basketball in Liberia that was thrown in the gutters by some leadership crisis for years. Since 2014, this leadership crisis has been dangling around the basketball
2017.
House. Yeah. That started around 2014.
Okay, yeah, because Anderson second term, there were rancors.
Yeah, pushing the basketball horse from one area to another. FIBA had to come in, do some things. They even had to threaten the local basketball horse here that if you don't do XYZ, we will not pay attention to you. But like you said, the deputy minister
in the meeting here, but if you get the assistant minister for sports, Murphy Gray, I think we can find out. But I mean, it's all I sincerely believe it's all down to even with the current you know, part of the things of one of the good things of the county meet is that government appropriates money, you know, and say this is for match related expenses, this is for the teams, you know. But even at that, the teams, you know, or I'll call them teams and not counties, or maybe for better understanding, I say counties. The counties are able, some, not all now, some of the counties are able to raise money, you know, because what the government gives is just like a hand up, you know. So it cannot carry you through from the group stages to the finals. So it takes, you know, some prominent sons and daughters of the counties, you know, to raise money. In fact, sometimes during the Salif regime, you know, some counties had to go into their county development fund, you know, to take money in order to support their teams, you know. In some counties, you got prominent people like in Basso, for example, Yombli Kanga Lawrence, you know, as senator, she would chip in, and now she's pro tem, you know, much is expected of all. You go to Lofa, during the regime, during the WIA's regime, there was Jefferson Koji, there was Sarah Momo, you know, and other people had to come in. You go to River G, you know, there's Finabono, you know, there's Jonathan Porcher Subway, you know. So assuming you were to detach, you know, these prominent sons and daughters from the counties or from their support, what government gives cannot run the show. So if you, maybe the government is like, not to be insensitive, also to say, already we gave in, say, maybe 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000. Let's put that in, you know, maximum or 20,000 for two sports, kickball and football. To add basketball there means that you're gonna divide 3 in, you know, by 20, you know, so you're gonna be like around 6,000-7,000 per sport. But what some of the football players, and even I had the chance the last county meet to be around Lofa, you know, thanks to my friend and brother Ezekiel Sole Doba, the kickball team. I mean, you pay the players like a minimum of 150, 200. You go to the footballers, you pay a minimum of 200, 250. And in fact, Grand Crew, I was to my brother's parties play, and they at the time he was development superintendent, he has been appointed as the same and he was like, he asked me, Tanisha, what's the minimum wage, you know, the LFA? And I said, well, the LFA minimum wage is $50 per player. He said, oh, because he was heading the Grand Crew, you know, so he said, oh, and the children telling all will pay them $400 before they can play. Okay, they will go, they will not play. So that's some of the burden that the administrators, you know, the technicians go through, you know, and the players. I mean, no disrespect to them, they look forward to the county meet because it is that one-stop shop where they can earn, you know, something substantial to move on.
So that move on to football, the traditional sports of Liberia. We were at the media engagement. The good thing is the two of us, we attended that engagement. We had some conversation with the president, going our questions. There are a few things that were said there, and basically I want us to look at. That's what we want Emmett to be our guest, but we have him on the line. If you can connect with Emmett,
we'll call Emmett. So what I wanted us to do was that we play the audio into segments, you know, so that we give our listeners the chance. But my initial response, and you know, thankfully, like I said, I show up at the press conference and I saw some of my former staff, you know, people very excited to see me, and I was excited to see them. You know, my son Abubakar Kamara, the IT manager, my daughter, you know, Juma, and the team from the Evergreen, were very excited. But I think generally the president, what I want to say, and on the advice of my mom and my friend and brother women, I will just say this in passing. I want to make it my first and initial response. So, Mr. President, you see, when you have the chance to address the media, it's an opportunity given to you, by stakeholders to be president. And it's a privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege. My advice is let's do away with the personal stuff. Let's engage one another constructively. And that's what we want to do. Let's forget about the personal stuff. I mean, towards the end of the press conference, you were talking about good you do for people who have become your critic. That was childish, to say the least.
I didn't expect
that was so childish.
And even said that people go and drink water in the line, and their stomach will run and all that. I was so childish.
And I really plan to respond equally to that, but on the advice of my mom, I will just say in passing to you, Mr. President, let's deal with football. Forget about those you did good for yesterday. I mean, God will bless you continuously, and God will I know I'm sure God will curse them, but let's forget about the people you do good for, because you know what? All of us, we were helped yesterday. People did good for us. Even today, people do good for me today, and I'm very appreciative that the fact that people help me today. Myself, in my weak way, I help people. No one is questioning your ability to give. No one has said that Mustafa Raji is a mean man. I mean, I will not do that, and I'm sure people you help will not say, except
not even me will say that.
Except people you help say you are a mean man. Then I can understand when you respond in that fashion. But people who you help and they choose to be your critic, there's nothing wrong with it. In life, there will always be disagreement. Even in the home, there is a disagreement between the father and the mother.
Now, so let's play some of the clip of the president.
Yeah, let me just wrap up in under 2 minutes, and then you can go there. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense that you will go to a press conference live. For the first time I saw Spoon now. The FA is reaching out. Spoon TV, was there.
And then I even saw some non-sports journalists.
No problem. Yes, I mean the president wants to, get his message across. Maybe it's not simmering down in the sporting sector, so he's bringing journalists from maybe the political arm to extend, and his message. I mean, I listened to ERBC News for the first time after Tuesday. There was a story.
There
was a story in the news. I mean, it's good. I mean, you got to find ways, to get your message across. Especially the one you want to get across. You got to be innovative. Thank you for that. But let's do away with the the personal stuff, because you were helped yesterday. Somebody helped you yesterday. That's why you are where you are today. And you too, you help somebody. I mean, life is an endless. It's a cycle. Today you have it, tomorrow you will not have it. Today I have it, tomorrow I will not have it. I mean, people helped me yesterday. People are still helping me today. So no one is questioning your ability to be good. No, I mean, I have not heard that anywhere to say Mustafa is a mean man. So forget about people you help. Let's deal with the football issue. We will disagree, and our disagreement is not about you being a mean man. Our disagreement is about the way you managing the football association. That's our disagreement. So we're discussing football. Forget about people you help. I mean, yes, and honestly, I really wanted to calm down, but I will hear the advice of those who told me, say, no, don't go personal like he did.
And for me, Danisha, I saw the statement of the president of the football hall of being very challenged to the lowest level, not even a child that is below 10 will want to think that way, that because I helped my friend before, so I should be that boastful out there, that I feel you, you come to me in the
dark, to my farm, you
go to my farm,
you ate and drank, I mean,
drank my juice, you come out after you start to talk to me, my God will see you, your stomach will run. That was so challenge of a president of a football house. I didn't expect that from Raji. Like you said, he was a bit constructive. We are all professional people. You're the president of the Football Association. We are professional. We go out there, you refer to journalist, you're now a journalist, you're now that. No, then what will happen if you are speaking to a journalist who having a temper problem? That will result into serious issue at the football.
No, but
our witness what happened at the end of the engagement, he and one of my colleagues from Pram really went into serious issues. But we had to run in between to stop the
myself
because of the way the president
exactly
himself.
exactly. Well, and I asked 3 questions. The first one, very in a very angry tone. So I want to make follow-up. He says no. So I didn't want it to be acrimonious. So I just left it, and I had to restrain Michael to say no, forget it and stuff like that. But I mean, we hope that the next engagement will deal with the issues and forget about the personal stuff. I mean, those you help who are your critic, leave them to your God and leave them to their God. Because you know what? Others help you. You will not have been president if Wilmot Smith had not cast the vote, to break the tie for you. You have not have been president. And that is a singular good. You will not have been president if George Weah did not support you to be president. So people help you yesterday. I mean, I don't want to go down to what I did for you. Also, I mean, it's
the issue of breaking up or helping people.
Exactly.
It should not be your first uttermost priority when you have media practitioners sitting before you. Let's hear some of the things he said at the media engagement.
On that basis, I'm not really for 7 years.
This one is talking about the rejection of the 5,000.
Yes.
And I was very specific. Had he come up to the LFA, I would not receive money from him. If you wanted to actually gain money, why not go to the owners of the national team and pay that money? As president of the Football Association, I will not accept such donation from an individual that I know was in jail, involved in wire fraud, was deported from the U.S. jail for fraud, and on that basis, we as the Football Association will not set such an example to be receiving direct contribution for such an individual.
Okay. So this is my disappointment with the president. When did he realize? Because his previous statement did not mention that Cassiel was to go to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. He said he was not going to accept, and he did not accept the money because he never knew the source of the money. So you raise an issue or you ask a question at the press engagement. There are other people who are on the list of TRC people. The list of
I think maybe what's his name? Chris want to say something. Yeah. Mr. Chris Gible, you want to participate? We live on Freedom FM talking about. Okay.
So you have the list of Benedict Yuri, who was listed among people on the TRC report.
Benefited from the proceeds of war
in this country that today he enjoys himself. You have people who are making donations. You don't know the source of their income. Like you said, there have been mobilization committees set up. Do you know all of those people who put in their money there, where they took their money from?
I think the president, the arrival of Mr. Kaseku to the country, has roughened his feathers. So he's been on ease about Cassiel's entry into football. Cassiel wants to be president of the LFA. So the president has been on ease. And I can confirm that he sent a 2-man delegation to Mr. Kaseku to encourage Cassiel to be his running mate, and Cassiel turned it down. So now that Mr. Kuo is, firm on his, his decision and his, his ambition to be president, that has, sent some, it has given the president some goosebumps, So he's on ease because, listen, he who comes with equity must show clean hands. The president, if you're looking for people who, quote unquote fraud, the president himself is a fraudster. Maybe he has forgotten that during the administration of Edwin Snow, the president Mustafa Radi was banned because he illegally registered players to take part in the 3rd division with Ajamin Star. He was banned for 2 years. Snow changed the Ghana's subcommittee administration. That's how Wiaka Tre and others became. My notes that I took, I wrote some stuff down, but we'll talk about it. So he is not free from fraud, so he shouldn't be. He forged his college credentials in the 2018 election. So he shouldn't be looking for fraudster. He himself is a fraudster. He himself is a fraudster, so he shouldn't be looking for fraudster. Even look at the Honor 17 that recently got disqualified. He had to come under pressure from the Ministry of Youth and Sports from Wilmot Smith before he assumed responsibility for the disqualification of the team. There should have been a pre-MRR on the advice of Ansel Keita. He turned it down that let's go to Ghana or let's go to Guinea, go by road, do pre-MRR, which is called for in the regulations, and then those who are qualified to take part in the Honor 17, they will be ready to play. Even Jamale, Dr. Clara Yaski has recommended Jamale that Jamale can do, it may not be as scientific as the MRI, but they can do a projection of a risk, a risk analysis to say this person is between this age and this age, they are likely to pass, they are likely to fail. All of those initiatives, all of the pieces of advice, he turned it down and he sent Eric Panto to go from school to school for the parents to do form, who in this country will not want the child to go for opportunity. So you are dishonest, the parents dishonest, the team got disqualified, and when I called Ansel Keita that day, he was so inconsolable that why are we even into this? We should not have been here. How can we come to a tournament to do pre-MRR and then we get disqualified? So it was so disgusting. So you can be looking for fraudster when history is replete with the fraudulent activities that you have engaged in.
Then my question to the president: when did he realize that Kaseko was a person engaged into fraudulent activities? When you said he sent two persons to encourage Kaseko to be a vice president. Yes. So if Kaseko would agree, he would not have been raising all of this contention against Kaseko. That's why Raji is telling us.
He will not. And you accepted a donation from Bernard Ure. Bernard Ure, sanctioned by the UN Security Council as part of one of those sanctions, and the Taylor family as part of initiative to bring peace to this country. The TRC report, Bernard Ure is one of those who listed on as part of those who benefited from the proceeds of war for economic crimes. You took $1,000 from Bernard Ure with his public record so available. You took $1,000 from him, and then you say that you cannot take money. But thankfully now that he has switched the pendulum to say if Kasea wants to make a donation, you should go to the Ministry of Sports. Because you are not the owner of the team. Yeah. The government owns. You are not one of those the financial intelligence president country. And now I said that was the intro of my question, that the last time I checked, Mr. President, you are not the Director General of the Financial Intelligence Authority to be tracing, illicit funding and terrorist financing and all that kind of stuff. You are not there. You accepted money from Bernard Ure. The Fulham you talked about that you credit from the mystery Fulham. We don't know the source of his money. We don't know. Only you know the Fulham. Nobody in the Football Association has seen that Fulham. For the last 5 years, I work in that elevator. I did not see the Fulham one day coming with money in the bag to say, I'm going to credit the Football Association until government pays you. We don't know the Fulham. You know the Fulham. You go to him on behalf of the government.
Only you know the detail of the Fulham.
Exactly. You don't know that. Maybe you know the source of the Fulham money, but then tell us, show us the Fulham. Okay, then we'll know the Fulham. But so when Rodney Wilson was the marketing consultant for the Football Association, he launched what we call a dollar rally. With the help of our partner Orange, so that people, Liberians, can at least contribute $1 to the youth teams. Did the president check the sources of all those who contributed to the team? No. You didn't investigate people giving money. Even as at recent, the Honor 17 women's game with Nigeria, there was a rally, and another thing that shocked me or interestingly, that the president was making good or was making a report, and I thought a bit belated, but good also. Those the government entities that made contribution to the game, Maritime, PRC, maybe it's in response to the audit report, because the last audit report, the auditors flagged that the Football Association, headed by the has not made a comprehensive disclosure of government's contribution, and he accepted to that in the audit report. He acknowledged in the management letter. Everything the auditors flag in the management letter, he agreed to it. He comes to the public and says,
he provides a disagreement. So even in the audit report, the auditor acknowledged that the headquarters now is 1.89 million. The president consulted.
This is what I want to listen to what he said on that day.
Without establishing the difference in terms of the missing items, then you must be having a problem. The auditors, as per the assessment provided and the evaluation provided by the expertise, the company came out 1.8 million. It did not in any way take into consideration the missing water tower.
Okay. So, Danishas, if you are given a contract to fix this studio, and then you say you fix the studio for 1.5 million, the auditor say that the studio was fixed for 1.89 million. Then you, Danishas, you come back and tell me, say, oh, the auditor did not take into consideration the poor speaker. So my question here is, if the speaker was to be fixed in Ireland, don't you think the money will increase? Or the money will decrease? But I'm not thinking the money will increase.
So the president was insincere. That's one of his insincere moves. And Mr. William Smith has agreed to comment on that because he was heading the headquarter project up to the time, up to the April 2022 election. There is one Saki, I just forget what his last name. He was the technical consultant on the project.
Okay.
Part of Saki's work is that, so like you said, you're supposed to build a studio, and put maybe how they call it, sound. I mean, I'm not in sound system and all that. So he's going to put 5 computers in the studio, right? He's going to we've got 6 microphones here. He's going to put 5 computers, 6 microphones. And then when you finish, the next work you will do, then payment has to be made. That was Saki's TOR. Before, so in the project is in phases. So phase 1, when it's done, before we move to phase 2, Saki validates, everything that is there. He approves it and say, okay, yes, it's correct. We can move to phase 2. Then the FA releases fund. So Saki's work was to validate everything. The contractor said we'll build a headquarters with 8-inch block. And they bring 4-inch block. Saki will say, no. As per the contract and the BOQ, you're supposed to use 8-inch block. So you're not putting it here, or if you put it here, there will be a deduction. That's Saki was. So to the best of my knowledge and to the agreement with former Secretary Generals Isaac Montgomery and Collie Doko, that everything Saki did was validated. The president cannot come back and say, oh, there's going to be a water tower up here. Oh, the fence is going to put barbed wire there and they put glass bottle. So we'll make it done. So the question is, what was Saki doing? So Saki caused financial loss to the state because, the project, the Football Association is acting on behalf of the state. That's why it's called Liberia Football Association. It's not Mustafa Radi Football Association. It's not Danisha Football Association. It's not Thomas Kojo Football Association. It's the Liberia Football Association. So Saki caused financial loss to the state if by the president's reasoning and acknowledging that there should be a water tower here, is not there. Over the fence, there should be barbed wire and glass bottle there. There should be PVC pipe and all that kind of thing. And he is now inviting us to go and review the BOQ. Something that when Isaac Montgomery said the project is at 1.89 million, as far back as April 28, 2023. 2022 or 2022? Yeah, 2022. 2022. Well, no, 2023. This is the last year we did the dedication.
Yeah, 2022.
April 2023, when we did the dedication, April 28, 2023, when we did that dedication, right after the dedication, when the president said approximately 1.5, Isaac Montgomery said, no, we took a loan of 300,000, overdraft against the FIFA forward regulation, overdraft using GT Bank with an interest of 20%. That took the total value to 319,000, So the project, 319,000 plus the 1.5, that put it at 1.8 now. The president disagreed to today's date. Anthony Collie Dogo took over and said, okay, the project is what we call work in progress. So we'll wait for the next valuation. The other report came, Anthony Alon Collie Dogo, someone who I respect, we had a very good relationship when he was the Secretary General. He said, let's wait after the next valuation. The auditors come, all right, and value the project and say, okay, this is no longer a work in progress. So the headquarters now is 1.89. Koli Doko, a lawyer, an auditor, and accountant agree that the project is 1.89 million. Isaac Montgomery, an auditor and accountant, agree that the project is 1.89 million. Mr. President Mustafa Raji said no, but in the management letter, he signed the management letter. He acknowledged everything the auditors wrote. He comes to the public in his usual deception and says, honor the boss and say they didn't take into consideration structural changes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, but meanwhile, he says we should wait for the outcome of the case with CSAP and the LFA. But the case in court, before the commercial court, is not about the valuation of the project. CSAP say you get 50,000 for us. You better keep in the 50,000. When we finish with the headquarters, you get our 50,000. You raising issue that was supposed to do A, B, C, D. So the time you keep our money for is now 100,000 or 200,000. You say no. CSAP say okay, this is a country of law. So they went to the commercial court and and lay a claim that you get money for them and at the money they want. Then you say we should wait with it. Meanwhile, you are begging. Although you contest about the valuation of the project, everything CSAP did is not good, but you are begging them for an out-of-court settlement. So I mean, we can run the forward. So when we disagree with you now, one of your fallbacks is to say people you help, you get them work yesterday. They are your critics. We can run the football association like that.
And then there was a question asked to the president. And I started to investigate that about the 20,000.
Yes, that was another
good issue about conflict of interest because I wasted the issue of Benetton.
Maybe you can find that clip.
I want to find that clip. The issue of Benetton Ure. Benetton Ure was one of those heading
part of the awards committee.
Yeah. She was Shatter Angel. Shatter Angel had just gone in to bring in Miata Morris for another team in the top tier. Everybody saw it that you can't be on the committee. Jordan Backus Solomon was the first person who started to raise that issue. Yeah. You can't be on the committee. You have a player you support it. That's a conflict of interest. Yes. He pushed Benetton to recuse herself. At the end of the day, she managed to lead the committee. We were looking at the issue of conflict of interest. Today, Mr. President is the head of the Football Association. His drivers.
Yeah. Anthony
Colley owns the garage that the Football Association normally carry their car to for repairing. There is 20,000 in the budget.
Correct.
But what we have gathered, investigation with Earth, is that bulk of the 20,000 is being played with around the corner by the foot is being alleged. Let me just say this to you. It's being alleged that bulk of the 20,000 in that budget for football or for the repairing of the Eagles, we have less than 10 cars at the Football Association. But there is a 20,000 every year placed in the budget for them to carry on maintenance, registration of the vehicle. And the president driver owns the garage. Let me see that?
Let me hold you there and talk to Chris Dupley where he says the conversation is interesting, so he wants to weigh in on the press conference. Yeah, but I mean, and the president, it cannot be an allegation. Let's take Chris. Chris Dupley, we are president of Stages Queen. Welcome to Freedom Weekend Sports on Freedom 87.9.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you want to participate? Just speak your mind.
Follow the show. I want to thank you guys for the work you're doing. Society, a lot of people, they don't know the facts, and they just run with things that feel like everybody just finalized the president. My attention has also been drawn to the executive committee. For all the violations and everything that's going on, we have an executive committee that pretty much goes to the meeting and agree to whatever the president says. We're going to tackle it yesterday when also the upper women teams will have to be re-elected, and not even this Congress, but the elected Congress. That by itself is already something in progress that the president is cooking that's going to affect the elections. And then going back to the media engagement that the president had, I think that was you remember during 1990 when they were telling President for that remote coming?
Yeah.
And then he kept saying, they will not reach.
Yeah.
Whenever you see a president speaking like that towards stakeholders and the media being very disrespectful, it signals that the president doesn't want to contest. And I can at the end of the day, Nigerians will have to make that decision, and say, Mr. President, enough is enough. Give chance. Let other people come in and lead football. Look, if you disagree with Mr. Raji, you become his enemy right away. Right away. It's clear violation to have your mechanic retain cars for the FA and you tell us that it's not conflict of interest. Now what kind of association we running? It really baffles me to see someone that built Ghana FC, we thought that was going to come and change football, and has completely transformed into something else that is chaotic and very divisive, and he doesn't even care about what people think. All he knows is he must be the Lord of the Rings. It's wrong, and I want to thank you guys for continuing to flag this as we go into next year. Every time the circular comes up, we'll make sure we address it. Kasa and myself, remain committed to ensuring that football transforms in this country. So I just want to call to register that and applaud you for the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. All right. So yeah, I mean, the president says it's not a conflict of interest, and I was thinking about, I was wondering whether something was right with the president, because I mean, on all accounts, from left, right, center, is ripped with conflict of interest. Mr. Adolphus Dolo had a contract with the Football Association, providing, he owns the North Gas security firm, So he was able to win a contract with the Football Association, and the job was going on good. When he got elected, as vice president, the Football Association terminated the contract with North Star on grounds of a conflict of interest. Isaac Montgomery was the Secretary General who wrote the email, informing Mr. Dolo that based on his election as a vice president, he cannot be providing his company, and Mr. Dolo contested. There was a UEFA retreat for leadership retreat with the Football Association here at the Mama Point Hotel. I was there, but then I was in the employ of the Football Association. Mr. Dolo took that issue to the retreat, but the same Mr. Dolo and others got annoyed when I told the very facilitators, because what they did was they had one-on-one meeting with us, and then we had a general walk down. The same Mr. Dolo was annoyed when I told the UEFA team that there's a conflict in the media department, planned and orchestrated and implemented by the president, and I provided the whole 9 years to the UEFA team. When the president and others got the news, they were annoyed, and I really didn't care. One thing, thankfully to maybe my upbringing and we the crew people, we can be hot, we are very firm, So I really didn't care about how the president felt, how Mr. Dolo felt. What I wanted to was, I spoke my mind. I told the UEFA team that this is what is happening in the media department, planned by the president, implemented by the president, that my deputy and I, we have an acrimonious relationship. I was clear. And however they felt, I really didn't bother. So we go to the retreat, and the guy said, yes, it's true that, it's conflict of interest. You cannot be a vice president and your security firm, except where, even if it is owned, because Mr. Dolo say, oh, it's owned by my wife. They're trying to provide, some excuses. Yeah, he says it's owned by my wife. The guys, the team said, Yama, what's the other guy name? There was a lady and three gentlemen. There were four. They said, no, all of them agreed that, no, even there was another issue the president raised, that while I got my farm and I gave it to the people in football, the guy said, no, that can be termed as influence peddling, except you have a management team where people apply to. Set up a management team, people apply there, whether the Football Association, whether teams or whoever want to use the facility. There's a management team that, to a large extent, you are detached from that team. And then another thing you raise, oh, I get my money, I want to give it to the staff, for birthday. They say, well, that's your money. That's your personal money. You can decide what you want to do with it. But the property you own, the Football Association cannot use it while you are Football Association, and there's that is influence peddling, and that in a way amounts to come. So they were clear. So the same president now cannot come and he agrees. He approves the termination of the contract with Mr. Dolo. He comes to the press conference and says that his driver Anthony Colley, had a contract ever since before and I checked and I was just when I said something is not right with the president. Assuming that Mr. Anthony Colley was in the employ of the Football Association before Mr. Rajiv became president of the LFA, or Mr. Anthony Colley was providing his maintenance, mechanical contract, for the Football Association before Mr. Rajiv became president. That Mr. Rajiv is now president of the Football Association, and Mr. Anthony Colley is his chauffeur. Mr. Colley cannot be given a contract of 20,000 to repair and maintain vehicles owned by the Football Association. That is conflict of interest in red, white, and blue. Mr. President, go and read the FIFA Code of Ethics. You will CAF just sanction Mr. Samuel Eto'o, president of the Football Association in Cameroon, for signing a deal with 1xBet as their brand ambassador, when the same 1xBet is providing sponsorship for the Cameroon the Cameroon Elite League and the national team. You are privileged to that information because you are a CAF executive committee member, so I don't need to preach to the converted. So you can come and I was wondering what was happening to you, Mr. President, that you come to a press conference and you say it's not conflict of interest. Your driver has a contract with the LFA, 20,000 to repair vehicle, and you say it's not conflict of interest, Mr. President. Well, I'll leave it with the stakeholders.
This is the program, the Freedom Weekend Sports on Freedom 87.9. Can we hear from Emmett Glasgow quickly before we start the interact?
That's
the weekend.
Let's hear from our
on Freedom 87.9. I'm here, Thomas Kojo, Danishos Mate. We are just telling you some of those things that took place during the course of the press conference. Over 3 to 4 hours.
Emmett is on the line. Emmett Stages Glasgow, president of
senior
female professional.
Someone like you are under 17 captain.
Yes, the man who play in Malaysia, in England. I mean, you have a very rich CV. And welcome to Freedom Weekend Sports.
Thank you, Danisha, and thank you, Thomas Kojo, and good afternoon to our listening audience.
So too many things happened during the course of the week. They draw for the men's senior national team. The president had a press conference. Which you follow. I mean, you should have been our guest. We will bring you back on Saturday, and hopefully you were caught between the season. But just give us your initial reaction to the press conference.
Okay, the first thing before when I saw the memo or in the chat rooms, I had issues with the memo for the president to be calling a media engagement and then giving a specific topic that he wants to speak out. That's not being transparent, and people need to go to media engagement with independent mind to be able to speak to ills that affecting our football. I cannot remember when Itapino called a media engagement and gave media
the guideline what they speak about.
Give generally topic that he wanted to ask him questions about. I think it was wrong, and I have serious issue with that. And then back to the engagement with the media, with the journalists at the LFA headquarters. I followed, and I think the president, like he directly said, when he went, going personal with people, I think was very challenged. He needs to speak to the issues, and I have three, very concerned that the president spoke about. He needs to be honest to the Liberian people. He needs to be honest to the stakeholders. When he talked about the auditor, that he didn't agree with the auditor. This president had all the time in the world when the auditor did their work, and then he presented the audit report to him. So he signed that management letter. He signed it. So knowing that he had issues with the auditor, I think he should have raised that issue and then they rectify it before coming to the public. But to agree, and he sat at Congress denying people from speaking, and then he took the whole stage and making stakeholders to approve of audit report, and that the auditor himself has issue with, and that shows that the auditor stated in the audit report that for the way the LFA handle money, there's a high level of the high rate of corruption. then for the president to come back after weeks or more to say he disagree with the auditor, I think that's been very deceptive.
Okay, and we're hoping that you can come on next Saturday so that we'll take up the first 5 to 15 minutes to read the management letter so that the public gets to know what was contained in the letter and to which the president signed on and accepted everything without any condition now to be coming to the public and providing defenses. That is, like you said, an act of deception. But we're hoping that the God grants us, good life, and we can see Saturday, and then we can have a very firebrand conversation.
Thank you. I'll be looking forward to that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, MS. So now we'll hear from our sponsors, then we'll start to interact with our callers.
It's about musical. There are crowds from many places in every community, you can see. So if you see crime and boy, don't tell law in your head for the red authority. That they can't take your money. Crime stopper here for us. When you set that to your door, whether you rich or you poor. If you see a you want talking, that mean you check. Do it for safety. If you see it, don't keep it. You're part of the boy. Crime stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime stopper, stopping crime and make it before and before. Crime stopper, Liberia, on the center to interior. Crime stopper, keeping us safe, let's stopping crime for all of us. Crime stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime stopper, stopping crime and make it before and before. Crime stopper, Liberia, on the center to interior. Crime stopper, keeping us safe, let's stopping crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is a community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, old man Sam Sion.
Crime stopper, the people bringing safety to your gate before and before. Crime stopper, Liberia brings this issue to the LFA. For you to skip those issues and you just come and make it look like everything is okay. What kind of country we use to plan and then we have a bad audit report and then stable or winning the body after the auditor himself telling you that the report is bad. There's a high rate of corruption. The LFA people go to give you collect money for getting there, share it on the fee. President tell it, so there's a high rate of corruption. And then they still go on listening to that. For 1 million voting for the audit report, I think we are heading nowhere. It's a complete joke.
Calls on 0776 104 104 0776 104 104 086 500 104 and be a part of the program, the Freedom Weekend Sports here on Freedom 87. For now, we have 5 minutes to go. This is the Weekend Sports. Call and give your input on all of those things we just discussed here on the Weekend Sports. Right? Let's get this person from here. Good afternoon. Janina, where have you joined us from? Welcome. Former Vice President of Operation. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Very good. I like the second question.
Hello? Yeah, Nima, where have you joined us from? Go ahead. Let me ask you the question. Okay, Chief. Okay, let's listen to the president. Hello. Yanima, where you join us from? I'm doing good. Yanima, where you join us from? So go ahead quickly all the time. Thank you. Thank you. Hello? 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 Call us on 0776 104 104 0776 104 104 086 500 104 and be live on the program The Freedom Weekend Sports. We'll have 5 minutes to call it a day on the weekend sports. That close up with this person. Hello? Your name, where you join us from? It is Jeff. Yeah, Jeff, go ahead. No, I think that is angry with the president, though. Okay, thank you. That close with this person. Hello? Hello? I'm doing good, Yanima. Where you join us from? Good afternoon, Yanima. Where you join us from? Good afternoon. Where you join us from? Okay. Welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Daniel, my Nukutan big brother.
Okay. But do okay. Okay, Mr. President. Okay, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. So,
yeah,
I'm sure we can address him quickly on a 2 minute.
Well, he's a big brother from Nukutan. I respect him a lot. Former vice president for the National Oil Company. But I beg to differ. Maybe he joined the conversation
of late.
And he joined it. And I'm not too sure Mr. Daniels, followed the show from start to end. Because, and what, I mean, let's give what belongs to Caesar and let's give what belongs to God. So if Mr. Daniels listened from the start of the show, he would have told Mr. President, and they say, okay, Mr. President, when you go to a press conference, forget about the good you did for people. Deal with the issue exactly. So you have said that. So my initial response was about what he said. And then the second thing is, if Mr. Daniel has seen the other report, yes, I mean, we will not sit here. I, for one, will not sit here and be insensitive to some of the good things that are happening. I mean, you talk about the subvention, the sponsorship, right? Yes, teams are getting their money. It started with a $3,900 and I think $37. Now it's at $6,000. That's that's a lot. That's a big improvement for even though the teams and Mr. Daniel wants more for asking for more. But I mean, like the other caller said, Mustafa Raji brought turf, to other, football field. That's a good thing. But we're not talking about the turf. I mean, we're talking about the outcome of the press conference on that Tuesday. That's what we're discussing. So, if Mr. Daniels, and I will give him a call after the show, to maybe share the management letter with him, giving the audit report. Maybe he has not seen the audit report. So that's the crux of the conversation. We're not looking at the subvention that the LFA is giving to teams. We're not looking at the good that he has done. We're looking at the press conference that he held, the media engagement. So, Mr. Daniel, I will call you after the show. I will give you the document so that you can read it, and then you have an appreciation of what we were discussing.
We'll be back here on Saturday. Danish's matter on the weekend. Sports with me, Thomas Bullard. And I just love that last question from that person. If the Speaker of the House will make a donation to the Football Association, would that money be accepted?
The President will accept it.
We hope to hear from Mr. President.
He will accept it because the President was behind Funati and he tipped me for some sponsorship. So he will certainly accept it.
Okay, accepting it. Today's the weekend sport. This is how we love to go with Thomas Couture. Whether it's my name, I'm trying to move on the year due to unforeseen situation. We hope next time you join us. Bye bye.
I will see Mr.